So this is the last section of Chapter 3, Section 3.5, and you'll have a test. Test number 2 will be next week. I will post the review on Monday. I'll do a live review session on Tuesday. I'll send the link out for WebEx by Tuesday, and Thursday will be the test. So the last section is on applications and problem solving, and there's 3 concepts to go over. Excuse me. The first one is a flow chart. The second one is translating verbal statements into equations. And then the third one is applications of linear equations. The flow chart is a little overwhelming. I'm going to show it to you, but you actually use the flow chart without even realizing that you're using it. So don't get overwhelmed. The 6 steps, you don't need to memorize them. You're not going to be asked specific questions about the flow chart. It's just important that you're familiar with it. And then as we progress in this section, I will point out that you're actually using the flow chart naturally. So you actually use these 6 steps without even realizing that you're using them. So just to quickly go through them, step 1, you want to read the problem completely. It might take a couple times, but you want to read through the problem so you know exactly what you're setting up and what you're solving. Step 2, you want to assign labels to the unknown quantities. So for what you don't know, you want to assign a variable. Usually X or Y are the most common, but you can use whatever variable you want. Step 3, you want to write an equation in words. You can eventually skip this step once you're comfortable with what you're doing, because this is really just a repetition of the original problem. Step 4, you're going to take the equation that you wrote in words and you're going to write it as a mathematical equation. Step 5, you're going to solve the equation. And then step 6, you're going to interpret your results. Also at step 6, you want to check your answer. And then once we get started with some practice problems, I'll show you, like I said, these steps just flow naturally. You don't even really need to point out that you're doing them. Okay, so the second concept is then actually translating the verbal statements into equations using the steps in the flow chart. So in order to do that, we need to point out key terms that you can familiarize yourself with so you know if you're going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Now, there are a lot of words to signal what you're going to do. I'm only going to highlight some important ones that you'll see throughout the rest of the course. All right, so for addition, sum of. Right, and by sum of, you'll see something that says the sum of x plus 5, or I'm sorry, not plus, the sum of x and 5, or the sum of x and y. Okay, sum of means addition. Plus, x plus y, or 5 plus 10. Added to, so if a number is added to 3, or if x is added to 10. Increased by, and total of. So if you read the total of x and 3. Right, so these 5 words are key words for when you're writing an addition problem. Okay, for subtraction, the difference of, minus. So if you saw the difference of x and 3, or y minus 10. Subtracted from, decreased by, and less than. Right? These are all key words that mean subtraction. For multiply, we have product. An example would be the product of x and 10, or the product of a number and y. Times, x times 3, or a number times 10, and multiplied by. For division, quotient, the quotient of y and 10, divided by, and the last one is per. You probably won't see per a lot, but per does mean divide, like miles per gallon. If you want to know how many miles per gallon, you would divide. All right, so now let's actually go through the flow chart and solve some of these. So a number decreased by 7 is 12. So the first step of the flowchart is to read through it and familiarize yourself with the problem. So a number decreased by 7 is 12. Find the number. Right. Step 2 is to assign labels to the variables, or to assign labels to the unknown quantities. So we don't know. It says a number decreased by 7. So we don't know what that number is. So we're going to let X represent that number. Okay, so we have X. The next step says to just rewrite the problem. So we have a number decreased by 7 is 12. We know decreased means subtraction. So we're going to have X minus 7 means equals 12. Okay, so that is step number 4, writing a mathematical equation. So all these steps kind of flow together. All right, so now if we're going to solve it, we want to do the opposite. So we're going to, we're going to add 7 to both sides. These cancel out, and we get X equals 19. And that would be your final answer. So like I said, you're not actually writing out each step from the flow chart. It kind of just flows natural. Let's try it with this one. First step, familiarize yourself with the problem. Read it carefully. 7 less than 3 times a number results in 11. Find the number. All right, I read it. Now I want to assign variables. So 7 less than 3 times a number. We're going to use X for a number. All right, rewrite the problem, and you can skip this step once you get the hang of this. 7 less than 3 times a number results in 11. So now we're going to write that as a math equation. 3 times a number is going to be 3x, and 7 less than that is going to be 3x minus 7 equals 11. Right? So 7 less than 3x results in 11. And then we want to solve it. So how do we solve it? We're going to add 7 to both sides. That cancels out. We get 3x equals 18. Divide by 3. We get x equals 6. And then, of course, you can always check it. 3 times 6 is 18. 18 minus 7 is 11. Right. 2 times the sum of a number and 8 equals 38. Find the number. All right, we're going to assign x for the number. And we're going to rewrite. Let 2 times the sum of a number and 8 equals 38. So we don't know what the number is, but we know that 2 times the sum of a number and 8. So x plus 8 times 2 equals 38. All right, now we want to solve it. So we're going to distribute, and we're going to get 2x plus 16 equals 38. We're going to minus 16 on both sides. And we're going to get 2x equals 22. Divide by 2. And we get x equals 11. All right, so here's a couple to practice. We'll walk you through them and do them with you. So for number 1, we have a number minus 6 is negative 22. We don't know what the number is, so we're going to use x for the number. And we know that minus means subtraction. So a number minus 6 is negative 22. All right, now we need to solve it. We're going to add 6 to both sides. This cancels out. So we get x equals negative 22 plus 6 is negative 6. Okay, for 2. 4 subtracted from 8 times a number is 36. So we have 8 times a number So we have 8 times a number, and then 4 subtracted from that is 36, right? It's not 4 minus 8x, right? It specifically says 4 subtracted from, right? So whatever 8 times the number is, we're going to subtract 4 from that. So this is not right, right? We're going to add 4 to both sides. And we get 8x equals 40. Divide by 8. And we get x equals 5. All right, for number 3, 8 added to twice a number is 22. Find the number. So we don't know what the number is, so it's x. And we know that 8 added to twice that number is 22. So twice the number plus 8 is going to give us 22. Now, since it's addition, it doesn't matter the order you write it in. So we're going to do minus 8 on both sides. And we're going to get 2x equals 14. Divide by 2, and we get x equals 7. Let's do a couple more. The sum of a number and 6 is 19. So the sum, sum means add. So we don't know what the number is, but we know if we add it to 6, we're going to get 19. We subtract 6 from both sides. And we get x equals 13. For number 11, difference means subtraction. So it says the difference of a number and 14 is 20. So we're going to get x minus 14 equals 20. We're going to add 14 to both sides. And we're going to get x equals 34. All right, for 13, we have the quotient. Quotient means division. The quotient of a number and 3 is negative 8. So x divided by 3 equals negative 8. Since it's division, we do the inverse, which is multiplication, to solve it. These guys cancel out, so we get x equals negative 24. And for 15, the product of a number and negative 6 is negative 60. Product means multiplication. So negative 6 times x is negative 60. And we're going to divide by negative 6. So x equals a positive 10. Okay, negative divided by negative is a positive. All right, a couple more examples. So for 17, it says the difference of negative 2 and a number is negative 14. All right, so the difference of means subtraction. So the difference of So the difference of negative 2 and a number, so negative 2 minus x equals negative 14, right? The difference of negative 2 and a number. Then we want to add 2 to both sides. We get negative x equals negative 12. Can't have a negative variable, so we divide by negative 1. So we get x equals positive 12. For 19, we have 13 is increased by a number results in negative 100. So 13 increased is addition by a number results in negative 100. Subtract 13 from both sides. And we get x equals negative 113. For 21, 60 is negative 5 times a number. Find the number. We have negative 5x equals 60. Right? We're going to divide by negative 5. And we're going to get x equals negative 12. Okay, for 23, 9 more than 3 times a number is 15. So 3 times a number, 9 more, equals 15. Okay, so we got to do minus 9 on both sides. And we're going to get 3x equals 6. Divide by 3. We get x equals. And for the last one, 5 times a number when reduced by 12 equals negative 27. Reduced means subtraction. So we have 5 times a number when reduced by 12 equals negative 27. We add 12 both sides, and we're going to get 5x equals negative 27 plus 12 is going to be negative 15. And running out of room, but you would divide both sides by 5, and your answer would be negative 3. And then I stopped explaining the steps from the flow chart. You don't need to explain what step is what. It's just to familiarize yourself with each of the steps that you go through. All right, so I recommend that you pause the video, do these on a separate sheet, and then replay the video and check your answers. I'm going to put the answers up here, but I'm not going to explain them in depth like I've been doing with the notes. So 8 plus x minus 8. X equals 13. Product of a number and negative 4 is 36. The difference of a number and 14 . X equals 33. And 11 subtracted from the product of 6 and a number. So it's saying 11 is subtracted from. So 6x minus 11 is negative 41. All right, check your answers. There's a couple more. Quotient of a number and 2 decreased by 3 equals 2. And the last one, 25 less than a number equals twice the sum of the number and 1. Negative 27. equals x. Right, so last part of this chapter is applications of linear equations. We've been doing linear equations. Applications are just applying them in real world situations, almost like word problems. So here's an example. Kathleen works twice as many hours in 1 week as Kevin. If Kevin works for each hours, write an expression representing the number of hours Kathleen works. Well, we don't know how many hours Kevin works. We know Kevin works H hours, right? That's what they're giving us, right? All we know is Kevin works H hours, right? We know Kathleen works twice as many hours as Kevin, right? So let H represent the number of hours, like the problem says. And if Kathleen works twice as many hours as Kevin, then the answer would be 2H. And that's the final answer, 2H. There's nothing more you can do. It's just 2H. So if Kevin works 3 hours, Kathleen works twice as many, then it would be 6 hours. At a carnival, rides cost $3 each. If Alicia takes N rides during the day, write an expression for the total cost. So we don't know how many rides she's actually taking, but we know that it's N. So N times 3 would be the total cost. If she takes 3 rides at $3 each, 3 times 3 would be $9. And another example, Josie made $430 less during 1 week than her friend Annie. If Annie made D dollars, write an expression for the amount Josie made. Again, we don't know how much Annie made, but we do know that Josie made $430 less. So let D represent how much Annie made. So Josie would make D minus 430. And that would be your final answer, D minus 430. All right, so here's a couple examples for you to try, and I'll help you with them. Right? For 4, it says that Tasha ate 3 times as many M&Ms as her friend Kate. If Kate ate X M&Ms, write an expression for the number Tasha ate. So we don't know how many Tasha ate, but we know that she ate 3 times as many as Kate, and Kate ate X. So it would be 3X. All right, for 5, Casey bought 7 books from a sale rack. If the books cost D dollars, write an expression for the total cost. So D represents dollars. Casey bought 7 books that cost D dollars, 7D. And for 6, 1 week Kim worked 8 hours more than Tom. If Tom worked X hours, how much did Kim work? Kim worked 8 more than Tom. Tom worked X. So it'd be X plus 8. And there's nothing you can do to solve them, so you just leave it like that. All right, pause the video, try these, and I'm just going to put the answers up, and you can ask me if you have questions. Frustrating, that keeps happening. 7P. And minus 4. And check your answers. And the last type of problem is a problem where you have 2 things that you have to find the price, where they're not giving you the price of either one, but you need to find the price of both. So you have a model of a TV. You know that the 42-inch TV sells for $800 more than the 32-inch TV. You don't know how much each TV costs. All you know is that one sells for $800 more than the other. You also know that together they cost $2,000. So you need to find the cost of each TV based on that information. Okay, so let X represent the cost of the 32-inch TV. Okay, why the 32-inch TV? Because we know that the larger TV sells for $800 more than the smaller. So if the smaller one is X, then we know the larger one is going to be X plus 800. Okay? Because we know it says it right up there that the 42-inch TV sells for 800 more than the smaller. So the smaller is X. Then what we're going to do is we're going to combine them because together they cost $2,000. So the 32-inch is X, the 42-inch is X plus 800, and together that equals 2,000. All right, and then what happens from here is we solve it. Right, so X plus X is going to give us 2X. So X plus X is going to give us 2X plus 800 equals 2,000. Let me fix that. All right, so we have 2X plus 800 equals 2,000. All right, and again, it says here that the 42-inch sells for 800 more than the smaller. We don't know what the smaller is, so that's why we're giving X, the variable X for the small TV. Right? And then we know the larger one is the smaller plus 800. Right, then to solve it, we do minus 800 on both sides. We get 2X equals 1,200 divided by 2. So we're going to get X equals 600. So we just found the cost of the 32-inch TV. So if we know that the smaller TV is $600, the larger TV is 600 plus 800, which is going to be 1,400. And together, they cost 2,000. This one's a little trickier than the others. Let's do another one, because you will see a problem like this again. All right, so for this one, same type of problem. We know that we have a cordless 18-volt tool that's made by Craftsman, and that it costs $310 less than a similar one made by DeWalt. Together, they cost $690. What is the cost for each model? So what information are we given? All right, we know that there's a Craftsman tool, and we know that there's a DeWalt tool. And we know that the Craftsman tool costs $310 less than the DeWalt. We don't know what the DeWalt is. We're going to call it X. And the Craftsman one is $310 less than the DeWalt one. We know together they cost $690. So X, that's the DeWalt, plus X minus 310, because that's the Craftsman, together equals 690. And if that's too difficult to see, you can even put parentheses around it. This is the one tool, this is the other tool. Together, they equal the 690. Right now, we want to combine like terms. X plus X is 2X. We still have that minus 310. All right, there's nothing to distribute here. So you don't need to like do this. The only thing that you need to distribute, if you were going to distribute, is to pretend there's a 1 here. So if you were going to distribute, it would be 1x minus 310, which is really what we have. 1x plus 1x is 2x. 690. We're going to add 310 to both sides. Okay, these guys cancel out, and I'm going to get 2x equals, this is going to be 0, 0, 0. We get 2x equals 1,000 divided by 2. We get x equals 500. So what did I just find? We found the DeWalt. We found the small one. We just found this, right? But it says find the price of both. So if this is 500 and the Craftsman is 310 less than the DeWalt, let's see how much the Craftsman one is. So then this one would be 190. That's the price of the Craftsman. And every problem like this will be set up the same way. One will always be an X, the other will always be X, either plus or minus, whatever the problem is saying. And then you'll combine them and it'll equal whatever the price is for both. Okay? And that is it for section 3.5. And I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to post this with the lessons and just remind you that the ALEKS for 3.4 and 3.5 is due by Sunday, and I will have the review up on Monday. All right, let me know if you have any questions, and hopefully the video was okay for everyone.